Yeah, definitely.
Talking about some shit. Oh, are we on? I guess we're on. It didn't tell me that we're live.
We're live.
Are we live? I guess we're fucking live, aren't we? I guess I better get my shit together.
Let's get this show going, man.
Welcome to the Bleeding Burgundy podcast, a Washington Commanders podcast for fans by fans, with your hosts, Jessy Martin.
The Cowboys are finished. You understand me?
John Taman.
Pull down my trousers and
Oh, dang it. Fuck it. I goddamn pushed the wrong button. You know, it's Friday. And I don't care. I don't care. I just don't care. I'm your host, John Taman, and I'm the worst podcast host in the world, as you can see.
True.
Clearly. Yeah, I mean, hey, every time I say I shouldn't be the host of this show, y'all go, no, man, you're the host. Okay, well, fine. If y'all want me to keep stepping in shit and laughing at it, go right on ahead, because that's what I'm going to do. To my right over there is Jessy. How are you doing today, sir?
Look, I got my backwards hat on. I'm fan-fucking-tastic.
Boy, we're going to show this shit up. Scott, down here on the bottom, my friend Scott, how are you today from Barrow and Furnace, UK?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, John. And hello, Jessy. It's great to be on with you as always.
I do honestly believe that I could record this portion of the show for Scott and have it just play. You could show up 2 minutes late, and I could just have, yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you? Pretty much it every time. All right, so we did, man. We hired a backwards hat wearing bro.
Yeah,
didn't we?
We did.
Yeah.
We
All right,
did.
initial thoughts on our brand new head coach Dan Quinn. We'll start with you, Scott, because you know Jesse's going to go for 15 minutes.
No, it's fine. Thank you. I appreciate you going to me first. Yeah, I mean, initially I was kind of almost with the Twitter meltdown of this is about a 5 out of 10.
Almost. Hold on a second. Almost.
No. Now I've had the time to settle down on it. I would say
You had to
I'm
talk
kind of
you down
about
from Big Ben. Stop it.
about a 7 out of 10 is where I'm at with it. I'm disappointed. I'll be honest with you. I'm disappointed that we were messed about by Ben Johnson more than anything. One thing that has impressed me with Dan Quinn, I'll give him his due, is he kept his hat in the ring. He never said, "Oh, I could go somewhere else." I think this team's going to be a ferocious defense. It's going to have some bollocks for once. It's going to play well, and it's going to be a team that, you know, you can hang your hat on the leadership that he's got. I mean, 43 and 42 is not a great and ideal scenario as a head coach. But you look at his defensive record, absolutely. He is, you know, far and away the best defensive option that was out there, really. I mean, Mike McDonald exception. I can probably
Maybe.
give that
We don't know, though, right?
but we don't know. And this is the
Wow.
thing, you see. They were looking at proven leadership. And he has that in spades. Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing for me is who he hires as the offensive coordinator. That's the next biggest thing. But I'm not saying it doesn't move the needle. Scouse on our show last night said, yeah, it doesn't move the needle for me. I know there's a lot of upset, but I pleaded patience and I'll plead it again. Let's see where we are in December. And if you still want to flip tables up, then go for it. You know what I mean? Flip tables up.
Let me just say for everybody that's listening or watching, the fact that Scouse was down on something and it didn't move his needle.
it's like not unusual, is it? It's not unusual, John.
No shocker here.
You're right.
I mean,
you're
genuinely, I look at this and think we were burnt by Ben Johnson, 100%. I mean, people are coming out and saying things in the media now that, he didn't interview very well and there was this and there was that. I don't think that was the case.
I want to know what that means. I want to know what that means. Look, there's a couple of phrases in the NFL. I want to know what they mean. One is tweak. All right. Our MVP of the year this past year, in my opinion, on offense. We spent a year and a half wondering what was going on with his tweak fucking groin. And I still don't know what the hell was up with tweaks. But doesn't interview well. What the fuck does that mean? How does this guy who's got an offense that's so well-tuned sit down and go so badly that he won't even talk to us because he feels so inferior to what he did? Did he cut farts in the meeting? What did he do? Did he call somebody's daughter hot? You know, the guy got all pissed off. What did he do? How do you interview that badly? I really don't care for a logical answer.
I just think that
he did.
It's a bullshit thing to do, to not even have the bollocks to sit there and say, do you know what? I mean, I'm going to call them before they get on the plane.
Yeah.
Or, you know, I'm going to actually meet them face to face and sit in the room and say, this isn't for me. I mean, fair enough. If you've traveled that way, it doesn't make a difference whether you've traveled all that way. If you have the gumption to stand in front of them and say, yeah, it's not for me, that's fine. What was all this? I'm looking forward to meeting Adam Peters. You didn't meet Adam Peters.
No. No, he didn't meet Adam Peters at all.
And the thing is, as well, with this whole situation is we haven't moved quick. We haven't got this sexy offensive hire that everybody wanted. And I think that's why people are pissed off. You can't go from having an amazing GM last week and being the savior of everything to being so down this week that the world has fell in when it hasn't fell in. The thing with Dan Quinn is the Cowboys' defense has been unbelievable in the last 2 years under his stewardship. He stewarded the Legion of Boom. Yes, okay, he had amazing players there.
He didn't create it, but he stewarded. He kept it along. He wasn't able to recreate it in Atlanta. And let me throw it over to Jesse because little did I know he was going to go for fucking 15 minutes.
Sorry. Yeah.
I know. I've been patiently waiting. I wanted Scotty.
You have, and I apologize.
That's just fucking
I'll sit quietly now.
Look, I mean, he wasn't my favorite, or my favorite, or the fans' favorite, or anybody's favorite. But one thing that we cannot say this whatsoever. And I've been listening to a lot of radio talk shows. This interviewing thing. This didn't come from Washington. This came from Seattle. He bombed his interview in Seattle. Period.
It really shut him down.
A lot of people are blaming Washington PR staff. Bullshit. Another thing that is a common misconception and this is fucking facts, is that Dan Quinn from the beginning has been high on their list of targets. We've heard that before the fucking season was even over with.
True.
That
John Keim said
that he was definitely an option, that the team was very interested in him.
He apparently interviewed really well. Now I'm going to use the other side of that coin. The first time that they talked to him weeks ago.
Sure. And this notion that Washington waited too long and got stuck with Dan Quinn is absolute fucking bullshit. For one, I commend the Commanders front office for wanting to at least talk to everybody, and that was the whole thing. They wanted to at least try to talk to Ben Johnson to see, but they didn't get that chance to. Who knows? Because Keim has said it, Sheehan has said it, even JP fucking Finley has said it. Nobody knows for sure what's going on in that office because there's no leaks coming out. Period. Now, on to Dan Quinn, on my feelings to Dan Quinn, I said was last week that I wouldn't mind the hire. Just before. I mean, he wasn't obviously my top choice, but I don't think it's a bad hire whatsoever. I definitely don't think he's a Ron Rivera 2.0. I mean, there's so many differences between than just their fucking win-loss record, and they coached in the NFC South.
They both.
That's just a lazy, fucking ridiculous comparison.
It is. Agreed.
In the most important aspect of this is Dan Quinn's not running personnel. Okay.
Right. Exactly. Now I'm listening to Keim today. Did you listen to Keim today? I'm sorry.
I don't understand why people can't get through their head when they're trying to make the comparison to Ron Rivera. These guys are different fucking coaches, period. The most important thing about this too is about the players that they're going to be getting. It's about landing a quarterback, because it doesn't matter what fucking coach we get. If they don't have a fucking quarterback, it doesn't fucking matter.
Right. And I'll tell you what, one thing that really tickled me pretty good the other day was the fact that Micah Parsons kind of left the door open to come on over here. His contract's going to be coming up soon, but I guarantee you they'll do their best to extend him as much as possible. And that's just goofy. My first thoughts on Dan Quinn
is a troll. I'm just putting that out there. Yam is trolling. Fucking troll.
Look, I tend to agree with what Bram Weinstein was saying today when I was listening to him, which was that we didn't get what everybody wanted, and what everybody wanted, they were sold on this guy. But you're right. That it was the Seattle Seahawks that found out for us. And look, we have always been the team that finds out that this is the reason everybody else passed on this motherfucker, because we throw money at them. Hello, Steve Spurrier. I could even say Eric Bieniemy. All right. We are the ones that are the experiment that finds out why. Oh, shit. Okay. In the past, we wouldn't let Ben Johnson get away. We would have thrown so much goddamn money at him. He would have been He would.
Dan Snyder would have gave him $25 million fucking dollars.
Right, and I mean, I'm just saying that I'd say it's 75% probability that he probably would have taken it because you can throw enough money at him. There's no cap on coaches. I said this the other day. The fact that we didn't get him, all right, it doesn't mean that we didn't get the next big thing. It might mean that we did get the next big thing, and we just don't know it yet. All right,
true. It's so
true. Records and all of this shit. To make stupid comparisons, Bill Belichick was 8-8 in fucking Cleveland, got fired. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. But there's no point to that. Okay. It's about who he's going to hire now and how he leads. All right. And I was listening again. I loved listening to John Keim. I'll quote his show most of the time because he's a reporter. He reports.
Right. You might be right, man.
So he had some guy on today from Atlanta and was talking about his time there. And most of the problems that they had was because he had too much power. He was choosing personnel. He was running the draft. He was doing everything, man. He had the coach-centric model down there, and it didn't work out. Up here, it's not like that. So I'm happy with the hire because I think head coach is much more about delegation than anything else. He's going to have to hire a staff.
Fucking leadership.
Be a leader. All right. Now here, one of the other things this guy said today on that podcast was that this guy, he comes in with a lot of slogans. So get ready for some fucking slogans.
I mean, look
we're
at the
slogan type
podcast
here, buddy.
We are.
We like slogans here.
You just mentioned it there, John. Look at the coaches that didn't make it first time round: Bill Belichick, Don Shula, Mike Shanahan, Pete Carroll, Andy Reid, Tom Coughlin. I could keep going.
Pretty goddamn good as an Eagles coach, man.
Still,
in comparison to
he went to a Super Bowl, but guess what? So did fucking Dan Quinn.
Right. Well, look, I don't have a problem with the hire because to me, it's about leadership and it's about delegation of what you're going to do there. I do want him to keep hands more on the defense and not let it go somewhere.
Me too.
Because that dude can coach up a fucking defense.
He can.
The Cowboys defense,
say what you will about it. It was a bucket of shit. The quarterback. We all made fun of that defense on this podcast, okay? Fuck Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn ain't going to do shit when they hired him. But guess what? He turned that fucking defense around, and it was fucking badass for the past couple of years, period.
I totally agree, man. I think that I saw that today he's down at the Senior Bowl. All right. So I'm curious as to when they're going to start getting assistant coaches. I would assume that this next week. I mean, he's at the Senior Bowl now. Where's the Super Bowl? It's in Las Vegas right now, whatever. It's a plane flight away.
Yeah.
There's a lot. That's where you do your hobnobbing. All right. And I want to see good assistant coaches hired. All right. I don't want to see just like this mass exodus from Dallas. I don't want to see him.
I think so, but I would welcome Witt with the open arms. He's a good coach.
Yeah, 100%.
Coordinator though, or as a position coach?
Defensive coordinator.
I think that's done. I think that's done already.
Because
Jessy,
Quinn's going to be calling the defense. I think he definitely still wants to call the defense.
I hope so.
I don't think he does. I don't know. I think that on the reason I think Witt is a good fit is purely because he's been calling been in that offense for the last 2 years. So he has someone who he can trust to call his defense and
help run his defense while he's delegating.
That's what I'm saying.
Else. But I still think
he's.
I listened to Thomas Dimitroff earlier today. Mm-hmm. He was the GM in Atlanta. And he said today that they still keep in touch, and he is definitely likely to still call the defense.
Look, I'll tell you what. That's the one thing that I keep hearing about Quinn is how much respect he has. Now, granted, we heard the same thing about Ron Rivera. Oh, everybody loves him.
We did.
Yeah.
But it was for a different reason. I think everybody respects Quinn because he gets the best out of the players that he's going to get. And I'm saying this because I'm a fan.
And he also adapts to the players too, unlike Rivera.
Correct. Look at the safeties. Look at the safeties in
Eric Bieniemy.
Look at the safeties in Dallas. Kirsch, not terrible on his way out of the NFL. Rubbish. Turns him into a brilliant player. Jerome Bland, a nobody.
Bland. Yeah. Well, who the fuck is this? Breaking record.
What do you have? Honestly, 6 interceptions this year?
For touchdowns.
So that's what you've got to think, though. In the past 2 seasons, they have the highest takeaways in the NFL. That's something we've been speaking about. We've been speaking about that for ages. That's the whole reason we got Emmanuel Forbes here was because of the way that you could take away things. Quan Martin is going to absolutely cook in this defense. That is 100%. Yeah, I mean,
I'm excited for those guys.
Yeah, I am too. Yeah. And looking at this whole situation is the players are going to play hard. What I want to see is, as a fan, is 100% commitment. It doesn't, I mean, wins and losses, yeah, that's what you get judged on. I completely understand that. But there's been times over the last 2 seasons where we have gone, oh, okay, we don't look like we're at it at all. It takes far too long to adjust. We don't get anything done at all, play calling wise. And then we end up getting either absolutely smoked or it ends up being quite close in the end. But there's no adjustments, and there hasn't been under Del Rio. And now we have a totally different defense coming in. Thoughts on that is they're going to be good. They're going to be a good, solid team. I'm not expecting them to be a top 10 defense, but you've got to be better than 32nd. The bar is set very, very low, John. And where do we go from here? The only way is up.
We all bought a box.
And the difference between EB, us thinking that EB was going to let them cook it, and Dan Quinn is. Dan Quinn's got scores of evidence to prove that. We didn't have that with the EB.
No, we were the experiment. We were the experiment. And, a lot of people seem to think it's personal, but it's not, man. I mean, the guy just didn't get it done. And you know what? He might be our offensive coordinator. We still don't know. Right? I got to say this, because if he's going to be our offensive coordinator, I'm going to try to suck up to him here on the podcast, because I want him here to explain this kind of shit here and talk to us about things. I want him to this is a source, man. We need a source inside the building, because I'm tired of using Henry the janitor. I really am. Scott, you were making a point a minute ago, and it reminded me of something, and now I can't remember what it was, because I took a look at this picture, and really now I'm all excited, and I just don't know what to say now. So please, Jesse, go ahead.
Jesse, go on. You go.
Well, no, it's look, I'm perfectly fine with this hire. I mean, I'm not jumping up and down.
No,
but I am not.
That's good. That's in a way that's good.
Yeah, I'm not jumping off a cliff. And I had a tweet that hit. Well, I don't know if I put it out yesterday or the day before, but it was pretty good. It was a banger. That I said that Quinn.
If I do say so myself.
That's right.
Quinn was probably the right hire because of the fact that this fan base fucking hates the hire.
I got to get some sound effects.
Jim Zorn. I mean, fucking hell. How far back do you want to go?
Besides Jim Zorn, we loved every fucking hire that.
Right. Well, the thing about Jim Zorn, even if in that particular coaching search, our other best hope was Jim fucking Fossil, for God's sakes.
That's true.
I did a cartoon with Jim Fossil begging to shine Snyder's car to get the job.
I just think it's just people have to remember it's not Dan Snyder making these decisions anymore.
Right, it isn't.
Well, see, if you look at social media this week, especially right after that hire, you'd think that it was no different or no better. But the fact of the matter is, because they wanted Johnson so bad, and I mean, let's face it,
it
reminded me of the name change.
Scott wants some Johnson right now. I'm not going to lie to you.
Love a fan base flipped out
Friday. Right.
It reminded me so much of when the name was changed because of the fact
2 years ago today.
That's true. That they didn't pick the name that they want. I mean, it was just straight up fucking meltdown.
Dude, look, man, listen, for all the people out there, remember for the last 25 years, 30 years almost now, however may be bitched about, we were giving every kid a trophy. Everybody gets a trophy. They're going to turn everybody into a bunch of liberal fucking weenies. Well, look at us now. Nobody knows how to fucking lose. All right. So, you don't get your guy, and all of a sudden, Dan Quinn looks like this to you. Oh, listen.
He said, my mom. Just kidding.
Wow.
Listen, I'm going to tell you what.
Jesse's Facebook again.
Watching how people react, and not just watching how people react, but I interact with a lot of people on Twitter, and I love that, right? I love the breadth of people that I have out there on Twitter that I can watch, because I see other parts of their lives and things that they talk about. And look, a lot of you guys, you like to hang out in the club, or you like to talk about the girls in the club. And look, man, there's a lot of nights that you go home with somebody out in the club that you didn't think was the hottest chick in the club, and you have yourself a goddamn good time, don't you? Been there. Scott's like, I had no idea what you're talking about. So.
Can't say I have. I've been married 20 years, John. So, yeah.
Scott's like, good morning.
You mean taxi karaoke? That's what you mean.
No. You were in the Middle East. This is what they look like when they take the veil off. And Scott's got like, now I have to marry you?
I thought that was a Taliban. But anyway, moving on.
Terrible joke.
Oh my
It was
God!
a terrible joke.
Look who's here.
Oh my
Who is
word!
that? I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is.
He's here.
Yes,
Oh, wait, that's the wrong sound effect.
I'm so
that's
excited to see you. I'm pleased you're alive.
So Keith Gray, ladies and gentlemen, joining us for the 6th time this year, and that's a joke that I've run for the 2nd time in 2 years.
Boy.
Welcome to the show. We would love to hear your take on our brand new head coach.
He's going to
Dan
shit on
Quinn.
it.
So no, I'm not gonna shit on it, Jesse.
He's not in the right room for that. We've been there. We've seen the
That's
decor.
true.
This is
All right,
I don't know.
so-
This is the bedroom.
So my opinion on the coach. I'm not excited.
But you're in bed. I doubt it.
Yeah, not for
Oh
long.
my God, he's got a beach towel with him.
Yeah, not for long. I'm on the move. We're heading to Florida tomorrow, and it's just been a busy life, man, with Carter and his sports and basketball. But anyways,
I get it, dude.
He's heading for Florida.
yeah. So anyways, we decided to take a last minute trip to Florida, man. This family needs a break. But anyways, back to your question. I'm not gonna shit on it, Jesse, because anything can happen. We were excited when Ron came in, and look at what happens. So I can't be pissed off about something that I'm not sure how it's going to work here.
I don't think anybody's
see
sure.
it-
You're right.
Until I
Right.
see it unfold and come into place, and
Then you'll
yes,
be pissed off about it.
and yes, I'm willing to, of course, come in and be optimistic, because for, a year now, I've been begging for change. Well, we got the change, so I have to accept the change that's coming. Me personally, and only for the only reason that the way that I see these young coaches in the league now, they're successful. They're becoming successful. And I kind of wanted a piece of that. I wanted a young coach. I wanted to feel that they were going to bring, innovative things to this team. And, we see some new stuff. And we very well could see new stuff with Dan Quinn. But
We'll
I
see
was
some defense.
more... Right. I was
Helping them.
more under... I just wanted someone who wasn't... retread might be a bad word for Dan Quinn, but that's kind of the word I've been using.
Because he's only had one job.
I didn't want a retread quarterback, retread coach who...
A retread would be if we talked to Jeff Fisher.
That's a retread, but that's a bad retread. Like, this one is where coach he showed some success and then became unsuccessful and then gets fired. And then becomes, defensive coordinator, and now he's over here. Like, I don't know, man. I guess I just have to go with this and be optimistic and hope that, there's been plenty of coaches that have had second chances and have been successful. And
Bill
so
Belichick.
I guess that's Bill Belichick. I mean, there's a lot, man.
Yeah,
There's
Pete
a lot
Carroll,
of coaches, you can name a lot that
Most
were
of them.
successful. So,
Andy Reid.
and listen, at the end of the day, guy wears his hat backwards, and I think cool guys that wear their hat backwards are cool guys, and I think he's going to be a cool guy at least.
Well, at least we all agree on that. Honestly, anytime I see a guy on with his hat on backwards, I want to go up to him and say, "Hey, can I hang out with you?" But that's just the way.
I think you've hit on a point there, but the biggest point here in this hire is the fact that he is not making personnel decisions. That is the GM. So I don't care which way you dress it up. He's here to coach. He's here to delegate to 2 coordinators or 3 coordinators and let them go and get on with their jobs. And if he's a leader of men, he can do that. He can get this locker room going. I'm comfortable with that. It's not the sexy hire that I wanted. I wanted Ben Johnson, but Ben Johnson fucked us over.
Dude,
Let's be honest with
what,
it here. You do not ring someone mid-flight and go, sorry, I can't be bothered to meet you. My wife has got my balls in a vice, and unfortunately, I'm staying in Detroit. And by the way, I'm not getting a pay rise like Bobby Slowick did. I'm just doing it because I'm there. I hope your fucking offense is shit next year, and I hope you don't get a chance next year, because this is twice you fucking turned teams down. There's 32 opportunities, and you didn't have the bollocks or the gumption to sit there and say to yourself, I'm going to back myself. I'm good enough to do this. But because you didn't want the chance to rebuild an entire team. You thought, I'll take the nice option in Seattle. But unfortunately, mister, somebody beat you to that. in Mike McDonald. It's easy to go to somewhere where they have a quarterback, where they have a setup and a structure, but you weren't willing to take it on over here in Washington. So bye. I hope you fail in Detroit massively.
Well said, Scott. I got to tell you.
It.
Listen, let me tell you something, Ben Johnson. It's Friday night, and if Scott sees you out somewhere, he's going to bust your fucking head. All right.
You know, it's true though. It is true. What is he doing?
I
did want him.
That's why I want to know what happened in Seattle. To hear the words he interviewed badly, so badly that it scared him into making a phone call like that.
I don't
think
believe
that's
it.
bullshit. I think it's bullshit.
I don't believe it.
I've heard though that we everything he wanted.
Why don't you believe that?
Not everybody.
Why would Seattle make that up?
Because I don't believe half the shit the NFL does.
Agreed.
The NFL is a grimy ass business, and PRs are paid, especially when someone pisses them off, they will smear, and that's what they're doing. I
don't think Washington's doing that.
No. I mean, damn, they were in the air when they got the phone call.
Yeah.
They're not doing that. They don't have to. They don't have to smear. The guy smeared himself by declining.
By the way,
you can't convince me that there wasn't a verbal conversation and most likely a commitment.
I would put to you that most conversations are verbal, but the fact of the matter is, I don't know that there was any commitment. They waited to interview him in good faith, and I think he acted in complete bad faith.
Yeah,
I don't think that. He should have saved them the fucking time.
So
this is where I have a problem. This is where I have a problem with the fan base. Everybody in the fan base thinks this team was going after just Ben Johnson, and I'm sorry, that's not the case. It's been said so many times that they were casting a wide net. They wanted to talk to everybody. Including Aaron Glenn. They didn't they didn't turn the fucking plane around after he called. They still went out there. They still talked to Weaver. They
went out there because it was scheduled to go out there. Of course, they're still
dude.
going.
If you're flying to Detroit and you have an opportunity to turn left and go to Vegas, what are you doing?
But everybody seems so set that Ben Johnson was their number one.
I think
I don't buy it. I don't buy it whatsoever.
I think
what
they would
I
have liked
say
it.
is speculation. What John says is what I agree with.
As usual, I think that they would have liked him, and I think that
I do too.
It's possible.
In a way, it's like
they could have interviewed him and been like, okay, yeah, Seattle's right. He fucking interviewed like shit.
Right. Now, hopefully that would have been what they would have decided, because I would I'm a bit gun shy on that kind of stuff too, man. Don't make a hire just because this is the guy you're in love with. But I think that, look, I'm talking to a couple of guys out on social media today that I like and respect, and they're talking about how John Keim seems to be a bit of a shill for the team, and that he's been trying to soften the blow for Quinn for a couple of weeks now. And I'm like, I don't know. For one, I don't think that Keim is a shill, and he gets his access because he earned it. And number two, I think he's been trying to maybe put that name in there because he knows, because of his access, that they like him, and that he really interviewed well with them. And look, here's the thing. We're in for a penny. We're in for a pound, right? We said we trust Peters. We said we trust, Josh Harris. Well, now don't we? We don't trust him. Is all of a sudden, we say, okay, go pick us up some hot pitches for a party, and he comes back with this.
Perception. Jesus Christ. Perception.
Hey Keith, look at this.
I never ever want the team to ever do anything the fan says. That's just, or the fans want, because that's just dumb. We're all fucking stupid. But say we went and hired like a Raheem Morris or Quinn earlier on in the process.
We had an opportunity, but
and we didn't wait for the opportunity to go interview Ben Johnson, and he wound up taking the Seattle job. Right. How would have that looked?
Oh, people would have been complaining just as much as they are now.
I think they would have been complaining more than they are right now.
I personally don't care that we didn't, that Ben Johnson declined. I was I wasn't disappointed about Ben Johnson. I was disappointed because I just wanted a younger coach. I just wanted to.
Okay.
I wanted that. I wasn't a Ben Johnson guy. I'd be lying if I sat here and said I know everything that there is to know about Ben Johnson.
51?
I know what this fan base knows just by watching him in the playoffs. That's all we really knew.
Exactly.
What's
and
Quinn's age?
I'm going to put another thing that, and this is why I don't think Ben Johnson was their number one. Adam Schefter said it earlier. He said it on. He came on not the time, but
McAfee wasn't it? It was on Pat
yesterday
McAfee show as well.
Having a new head coach paired up with a new GM
and a new quarterback,
or new quarterback is a recipe for disaster. I don't think they were 100% sold on going or for Ben Johnson. I think it was Dan Quinn was their top one or two all fucking along, and they were just casting that wide net just to see if somebody wowed them, and nobody else wowed them.
Well, now, did we interview an Asian American? I think we're supposed to under the Wakanda rule. Or did we order an Eastern Caribbean guy? I'm not sure. I don't know the specifics of the rules or anything like that. But I was listening to that again today and hearing them say, "Oh, they satisfy the Rooney Rule here and they satisfy the Rooney Rule there." And I tell you what, every time I hear that, it's just to any coach of color.
It is, but I still think they went out with Aaron Glenn. I think they interviewed Aaron Glenn with open ears.
In good faith, yeah, I'm sure. I'm
Yeah,
sure, and you should, because he's turned in a good defense, I think.
But
so.
what Adam Schefter said, which it makes total fucking sense, but the fan base isn't going to listen to total sense because we don't have no sense.
It's the fans.
it makes more sense going with more experience when you have so much inexperience behind you,
and much more coming. You know,
true.
We have a half a roster right now.
I don't think people really think of that too much.
What was that, Keith Smoller? I'm sorry, I didn't hear what your feelings said. I didn't hear that.
You're good.
Anyway, I do want to get Keith's input on something that we've had a debate here, Keith, and I want you to tell me what you think of this.
Jesse's Castle went was the over in the LA and San Francisco. It was 40.5 and turned out to be 41.
I'm sorry. I'm going to play that until the day I die. I just love that. I just love that.
Keith got it. Anyway. Keith didn't see it. You're jacking yourself off under the table.
Keith, I am not doing that.
Yes, you are. I fucking swear to God, you are.
He is. We're going to just go.
No, I'm not having a bowl.
I don't believe it, Scotty. I'm on your side.
Hey, last week somebody on this podcast said that you had been out in Thailand just hanging out with young Asian girls, but I said to them, look, that's just crazy, even if I made it up. So, all right. So, in terms of assistant coaches, with Quinn down in Mobile, you know, how's he going to interview them to fire them? That's what I want to know. When is that going to happen? Because I would like that to happen sooner rather than later. Everybody's there in the next week.
You can't do it now.
Here we go. Pollywood, we appreciate you being with us, but there is zero chance you know this. I mean, you don't know this. Nobody knows this. And he was a top guy from the beginning. We heard his name on the top of the coaching list before the season even was over. I mean, this is facts, man. This is I'm not making the shit up.
The fact of the matter is,
it's sorry we didn't pick the guy that you want, but he was definitely on the top of their list.
This is just how it's going to be until we win. And the fact
he was
of the
top
matter
of the
is,
list, but he definitely wasn't. I don't think he was number one on the list.
I don't think they had a number one. That's the whole thing. They didn't have a number one. I don't think
they'll tell us whether he was or not.
You hire two consultants to go find a coach, and you don't have a number one. That's crazy talk.
Listen,
crazy talk.
No, I don't know. See how crazy that is. They went in this fucking with ears and eyes fucking open. They wanted to hear. That's why they interviewed so many fucking people, man. They didn't go in with a consensus number one, because some people, even Kime said it the other day, some people were in favor of Johnson, but other people in that group they wanted Quinn. I mean, there's no consensus there.
When you're going to go into a coaching search, you better search, right?
Yeah.
Which means leave the opportunity for somebody to knock your dick in the dirt. Leave the opportunity for the guy that you want to go, he's a fuck up. You don't want him. You find out differently. You got to be open-minded with what you're doing. I think that when you saw a lot of coaching hires this year, my dog, he doesn't like Quinn. But I think with a bunch of the coaching hires, what you saw this year is excellent negotiation on the coach's part that maybe we weren't willing to take part in. I mean, look how much money that the Harbaugh got, right, from San Diego or excuse me, Los Angeles, whatever. Look, they gave McDonald a sixth year up in Seattle. That's significant, and maybe we weren't willing to do that. And I think that when you see something like that, Seattle, you could say that they're using the Snyder approach, which means once his fucking plane touched down, they weren't letting him get out of town. Whatever you want, sir. Take whatever you want. I saw people reacting on social media this week to a fucking video that their goddamn PR department put out of him walking in the building and all the people saying, "Oh, hi, Mr. McDonald. Oh, hello, Mr. McDonald." And they're like, "Oh, I wish we could do that here." Dude, that's called winning off the fucking field. Aren't we done with that shit yet?
That's true. That's
fucking
true.
A.
Tired of winning off the field.
Tired of winning off the field. By the way,
all of us
good luck to Scott G. Scott G's not with us tonight, and we do have some breaking news that's been running across the screen. If anybody wants to set up a donation or a GoFundMe to be able to find Scott G, we'd be happy to put our name to it.
That banner keeps going off, but
I just turned it off.
I mean, the other thing I was going to say there was that you were talking about the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator hires, them sort of people. We can't do anything next week. We just can't do it because it's the Super Bowl week.
The Super Bowl, right? No, but
they can
do it. No, but you can walk. The fact about the Super Bowl, you can't talk to their teams, but everybody in the fucking NFL is there.
Yeah,
that's the thing. And we're already a week behind. It's the Super Bowl is in 9 days.
I'm sure Quinn already has ideas and has already had phone calls and talks with the people that he wants. I mean, this process has started, man. I think this process started before he was hired. I mean, all these
started after the Bears game.
Yeah, probably.
That's what it started.
I mean, looking at this though, there's a lot of names out there. Chip Kelly's one of the names that's going for offensive coordinator. Another one that, I got that trepidation as well, John. I saw you go, ugh, and now is the same. And then we've also, who's the other one? Is it Cliff Kubiak or is it Clint Kubiak? I can't remember which one it is that's been talked about.
Whatever.
But he is apparently already being tapped up to go
from this guy.
The Saints.
Jesus Christ.
Saints. Yeah, that's what I heard. Saints. Yeah. I saw that earlier on.
Dude, if I see a bullhead come into view there.
Well, I'll tell you, Paulie Wood, he's asking if Quinn was the choice from the get-go. I never said he was the choice from the get-go. I said he was one of their top choices, because they wanted to talk to everybody.
Right.
Again, keeping their casting a wide net and looking at their options. I mean, they wanted to talk to everybody. They said this from the beginning. They showed it to us. It's not their fault that y'all don't choose to believe what they say.
Well, Paulie, the fact of the matter is that Johnson kind of fucked them over. Johnson went out to Seattle and did so badly that it knocked his dick up, and the dude fucking tucked it and ran. So all that really does for me is it says to me that when we play the fucking Lions, I want to smoke that dude.
The only sense that they fucked him over is that they didn't take the interview.
Right.
Who knows if they would have hired him?
Well,
nobody does.
The thing that tells me that it fucked him over is okay, if you're waiting to talk to this guy, and I mean, I guess they're also waiting to talk to McDonald, so you're going to be waiting for that week anyway. But Raheem Morris gets hired. You got a couple other guys that get hired that may have been higher on their list. Raheem Morris may have been higher on their list, but they said, okay, well, he's gone, so we're going to talk to Johnson, see what he has to say. We're going to talk to McDonald. Of course, McDonald goes up to Seattle, and they basically
we're going to talk to Weaver because Weaver was in Baltimore too. They had to wait. They had plenty of options. They wanted to talk to everybody, period.
And they did. And if what we've decided in just who was it? I think it was Deuce that said, or no, it wasn't Deuce, but somebody said that our Peters went from we're going to trust anything he says to garbage in 6 weeks. Not even that, 3 weeks. So
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
we just got to wait to see what happens on the field. That's it. Yeah. Ultimately,
what I'm interested in is how it's going to affect the roster. I want to know how Quinn is going to view the defensive players that we've got, because we've been bitching now for I don't know how long that Ron can't draft. Okay, Ron can't fucking draft. I know I'm going to say this name, and Jesse's he's going to turn purple. But Mark Tyler, he's talking about, okay, down there at the Senior Bowl, he's got this OC number 1. And I'm like, wait a minute. OCs. Ken is reporting we're talking to OCs, which was funny. Way to go, Ken. But we're talking to centers. Okay, so this guy we drafted last year in the 3rd round, supposed to be the number 1 center in the country. Why are we looking at centers? These defensive players, Mathis can't get on the field. We're looking at these guys and we're calling them busts all over the place. Davis, all this shit. So maybe they've been so poorly coached that just bringing in new coaches breathes new life into these guys. Mathis may not be a bust. Forbes may not be, somebody that we're questioning, because a lot of people are. These players that are, in my opinion, Davis, dude, you're a 1st-round pick. I don't want to use the word bust. He's a serviceable linebacker, but he fucking, goddamn 1st-round pick linebacker. Better coaching. Better coaching.
Yeah. We don't know how Davis is going to be in a system that fits him, or in a system,
or how these players are, whether these players
can
actually play.
Sure, we don't know. We're going to find out. We're definitely going to find out.
Keith, what's your thoughts on offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator? Who they bring in?
I don't know, man. I don't know. When I heard the Chip Kelly news yesterday, I was kind of in the air on that one because, I had just, pretty much moved here and watched Chip Kelly destroy the Eagles the way that he did. I understand that was because he was head coach and had full control, and it was a battle between him and Harry Roseman. I mean, I was here for all of that. Mm-hmm. But either way, it was good stuff, and I just couldn't stand Chip Kelly whatsoever. But, when I heard the rumors floating around yesterday, I kind of put it out on Twitter, and of course everybody and their brother can't take the joke, and they want to tell me how great Chip Kelly is as a coordinator and how he's not going to be a head coach with personnel decision making. I don't know, man, because I didn't watch Chip Kelly at UCLA to know, what's he doing there, what type of offense is he running, what's going on. Like I just don't go that deep, so I don't really have too much of an input, when it comes to these guys. I just, like I said, I start with the head coach. I wanted a young head coach. I figured we were going to bring in a young staff, and I wanted to see if we could potentially build off of that and have some innovative minds. But that's not the case. So we've got Dan Quinn. The way that I look at Dan Quinn is I look at Dan Quinn as an older coach. Everyone does say leader of men. We said that about Ron Rivera. But is Dan Quinn, is he those types of coaches that our players can respect? I think so. I've talked to a few Dallas people that I know, and they were very pleased with Dan Quinn's defense. They said Dan Quinn was a no-nonsense guy, but, the players loved him. So if Dan Quinn's going to come in and he's going to delegate and he's going to do his thing, and, he's got the number 2 overall pick. We got the young GM. I mean, there's still plenty of things to be excited about.
Absolutely.
There's still plenty of things to be excited about. There's a lot of uncertainty going on. But I think that that's the reason why fans are so stupid, because once again, we're back into that uncertainty of what can happen. But with uncertainty,
that's sports though, man.
With uncertainty though can come a level of excitement as well, as long as you temper those expectations and you just remain excited and hopeful. And I'm going to do the same thing with Dan Quinn that I did with Ron Rivera. I didn't hate the Ron Rivera move, but I would have liked a younger coach. And Ron Rivera looked like, in his first 2 years, looked like there was something potentially there. And unfortunately, we know how that ended. And I'm just at this point hoping that it doesn't end this way with Dan Quinn. I can tell you right now, I will be a fan till the day that I die. Absolutely. But now the level of passion that I am as a fan, I have to be honest with you guys. It's fading.
I must say, you took to your bed in October, and you have not gotten out of it since. And every time that we talk,
and it's not because I'm drowning in my sorrows and so on and so on. This happens every time we get a new staff for me, because I just look at it as a restart. And I don't think that these coaches can come in and win immediately in their first year. And then you take a look at our roster. I personally feel this is the worst shape our roster has ever been in. Well, not ever, but has been in a long time. But again, this is where you hear that term, trust the process. He used it here for the 76ers. He's going to use it with the Commanders. And I will say the 76ers have, they haven't crossed that championship threshold, but they did become a better team. I know it's basketball and not football, but if they run this organization the way they did that basketball team, I don't hate it. I like the moves that the Harris Group are making. I like that they're bringing in consultants. They're bringing in football-minded people. They're doing the right things for a lot of different reasons that we haven't seen in many years. So yes, I am slightly a little bit more excited, but I'm going to roll into this season of, all right, show us what you got. Because what's keeping me in it right now is that number 2 draft pick. But I have to be honest with you.
Did you buy
if this continues another 4 years, man, my passion is just going to empty even more and more. And I'll always be a fan. But honestly, man, like I don't know how much longer I can keep pouring every ounce of passion I have into this. I'm trying.
Well, as you get older, the ounces of passion that you have to pour usually are a lot less, and lots of them end up in the shower. So anyway, are you buying your tickets this year?
Yeah, I already got them.
You did. There you go. So all right, you're in. That's the way I like to hear it. And I've understood that you have been selected as a finalist for assistant towel boy.
For Jason Wright, yeah. Every time he gets out of the shower, I'm right there with the towel.
Hey man, I'll tell you what, you are a dedicated.
It's got to be a big towel.
Hey man, you know me, just like the guy told me on Twitter yesterday or the day before. Even if we were, 3-14, I'd still be on the sidelines dressed as a clown cheering for my football team.
Sure, why not? I mean, and the fact that you get to spray the quarterback with a seltzer bottle makes it all much better.
Absolutely.
All right, so
I want to say something real quick.
Please,
I want to say something about Pete Carroll and Bill Belichick. Our buddy Pollywood is upset because we didn't hire one of those Hall of Fame coaches. Yes, they may be Hall of Fame coaches.
How much insurance you got to take out on those old guys?
This team was never going to hire either one of those. It wasn't. This team's not set up that way. Bill Belichick, for one, has lost it. He's gotten old. Tom Brady was a part of his success. Yes, he's a Hall of Fame, probably the greatest coach ever, but he was not the coach for us. Bill Belichick wants complete control over roster decisions. That's why Adam Peters is here.
Why they didn't talk to Adam. That's why they didn't talk to Vrabel.
I had a guy on Twitter after Dan Quinn was announced as the head coach get real pissed off because we lost the opportunity on Harbaugh. And I'm thinking,
it wasn't in the cards.
What the fuck ever. You ever gone home with some fucking hot chick in the bar and she's like, lousy lay?
The day that Jim Harbaugh announced that he was leaving Michigan, he knew he was going to San Diego.
Sure,
like, what are we talking about here?
Right. Yep.
Like, this is why I don't really enjoy Twitter anymore, because
it's so stupid.
People are stupid. People say stupid things, including myself, but not that stupid. But I just don't even like interacting anymore. I don't, because I'm irritated, man. I made it very clear since October. I've been irritated, and I'm staying strong to it. But, I don't run my mouth on Twitter and say stupid shit that we had no opportunity of. Jim Harbaugh was not coming to Washington. It was never
Did they even reach out to him?
Yeah. We didn't lose the opportunity. This is just fans. Like, I'm mad at the team, but I don't get on Twitter just to hate the team. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm seeing now. It's just a cesspool, and I'm not interested.
So, see, my hate, to me, this year was a new start for this team. It
is an absolute genesis point.
Yeah. This right here, I understand that some people, aren't ready to go there yet. I get it. I totally get it. I totally get, Keith, that you feel the way you do. I understand that. Siri, for me, I'm giving this the benefit of the doubt that I think a lot of people should really think about doing, just because of the fact that Dan Snyder's fucking gone. The person that destroyed our franchise, that totally destroyed the franchise, is gone.
Right.
How
We
do
got
you, how
new
would you
owners
guys
in
feel
here.
about this Dan Quinn hire if Dan Snyder was still there?
A lot
Oh,
differently. I
yeah.
can tell you that.
Yeah, listen, we
Because
Adam
he'd have
Peters
full
hire.
control.
Everybody was over the moon, over the fucking
Absolute
moon
home
about
run.
the Adam
Home run.
Peters hire. Okay, and
Yeah.
and his
I'm
first
gonna hate
decision-
it.
His first fucking actually, Thom likes the fucking.
Tom hates everything.
He actually likes the hire. He's just mad that they waited so long to hire him. It's fucking idiot. But
I'll like him all the way up until next week when he
If-
gets in front of my goddamn breakfast.
we're going to love Adam Peters 1 week, and then as soon as he hires a coach that y'all didn't want, you're gonna fucking just trash the team. That's the stupidness of Twitter that I'm seeing on a
Right.
daily basis.
And that's
You know-
something, just because I'm angry and mad about this team, that's not something that I do, right? Like, I didn't even really mention much about Adam Peters. I didn't know anything about Adam Peters, and 75% of the people that were excited for Adam Peters didn't know who Adam Peters
You're
was.
right.
Yeah.
You're right.
You
You're
know
right.
what I'm
You're right.
saying? And
Fans
that's
are
why
stupid.
exactly. You know, but yes, okay, Adam Peters gets hired. Then you go and you look at his resume, you know, you do your quick little research, and I say to myself, all right, well, there's something there. That's cool. And I move on from it. I don't sit there and have conversations about shit that I don't know. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
that's kind of like where I am.
95% of the people on Twitter, the fans that are on Twitter, do not do
I
their
know.
research. They don't
Dude,
know. They
I
don't
know,
know.
dude. This is how I became a troll, because I used to make fun of people who acted like that they knew, and they would be so excited about something that they don't know, and it drove me nuts, you know. But look, it's a fresh start, and that's why there's optimism there. That's why I asked you the question: how would you feel about this hire with Dan Snyder? You guys said it would be completely different. Well, that's because of the cesspool life that we were living with Dan Snyder as the owner.
Correct.
Now there's a little bit of air left to breathe with new ownership, so we're slightly, you know, so we're excited about that. Then you get your GM and a new GM making decisions that is not, you know, the Mayhew and Herney and Ron. So there's a level
Mayhew
of
and Herney are
excitement
still
there.
here. Yeah.
Right. Then you get a new
new.
coach. And again, just because he was unsuccessful, you know, towards the end, you know, with Atlanta, you know, I think that's what it is everyone wants their cake and then wants to eat it too. And that's not how this
Correct.
works in this league,
Yeah.
right?
No.
So
Everybody's
I'm
impatient.
Everybody-
all for giving second chances. But if you ask me, are you excited about it? No, I'm not excited about it because
You're in bed.
because
You
there was no excitement to his career in Atlanta. You know,
I mean, he
towards
did go to
the
the Super Bowl.
Well,
Let
it
us
was.
say this.
But let's.
He went to the
yeah,
Super
go on,
Bowl
Jesse.
and
Go ahead,
lost.
Scott. Scott's been waiting to talk for 10 minutes. Go ahead.
It's all right.
Go
I'm
ahead,
just going to try and try and preach to almost the converted. Let's look at the positives here of the hire.
And
You
there's
know,
a lot
I'm
of
looking
them.
at it in front of me here. In 3 seasons with the Cowboys as DC, the defense was rated top 10 each year in points allowed and twice led the league in takeaways. In 6 seasons as a head coach with the Falcons, yes, he had a 43-42 record. As a DC in Seattle in 2 seasons, #1 in the league. Then you look back at the record in Atlanta, where would you want to work for Arthur Blank? Not for me, thanks very much, in a dysfunctional off-the-field franchise, which is pretty much where we've been for 25 years. Yeah, went 8-8, 11-5, and got to the Super Bowl. And yes, he blew the biggest lead ever. We understand that. Was that his
fun.
decision?
It was fun.
And we
I
can't
don't
put
know.
that all on
But then
him.
I don't
No,
care.
we
We got
can't. Then
Arthur
the
Blank
following-
came down out of his box and his face drooped lower and lower and lower and lower. And
Okay,
that was
But then the
entertaining.
following season, he goes on a 10-6,
Yeah.
and they lose in the divisional round. We
Okay.
haven't seen
Can
playoff
we go
wins.
back to
He also
Dallas
had
and
full player
coordinating then?
personnel control.
Yeah,
which
go ahead.
he won't
Go ahead,
have
Keith.
here.
So we
You
don't
took a
have
bad
Dallas
team.
defense.
Dallas's defense.
No, we don't.
I mean,
We've
Yeah,
never
32.
had Dallas's defense. Dan Quinn had a lot better personnel out
okay,
there
I
on
agree
that.
with
that's where Adam Peters comes in. But also,
Okay,
too,
I'm with you
okay.
there.
All right. Well, just listen to this real quick. Before Dan Quinn got there, They had a lot of the same pieces for one, and that was one of the worst defenses in the entire league.
Well, you know, their defense changed when they drafted Micah Parsons.
Yeah,
well, I mean, sometimes one player can do that to you. And listen, we got a lot of draft picks coming up. We got a lot of money.
I'm with you there.
Yeah, these we're set up to do well. You know,
I'm with you there. We have the opportunity to get the
thing that I'm most excited for. It is not necessarily Dan Quinn, although I think he is a good coach, and I think he's players are coming out, and people that know football say it's more important to be a great leader than it is to be an X and O's guys. When we mix the two together, that's when fucking phenomenal shit happens.
The fact of the matter was, in Atlanta, he had full personnel control, which he does not have here. Yes. He had control of the drafts. He made mistakes in player selection. He made mistakes in free agency. He doesn't have that here. He's good. He's got.
That's what excites me. That's what excites me.
It's a whole different situation, a whole different organization, and the new catchphrase is aligned mission. All right, aligned vision, aligned mission. We're all moving to the same place, the same way, and he can handle that. You know, and that's the thing. So, yeah, that's the thing about leadership. All right, you know, when you're talking about a head coach, it's not very many of them that are actually. I mean, do you think Pete Carroll's calling the defense out in Seattle? Fuck no, he's not. But he's a leader.
And to go off my buddy, look, Paulie Wood. I'm sorry if I didn't know you were.
By the way, Templer's got a new name. That's our buddy.
But to go back on the Carroll and Belichick, those type of coaches and the Vrabel,
Vrabel wants too much control.
You know, they were never going to get them because they want too much control over the personnel.
Their first hire was a GM.
That's not who Adam Peters was not going to give up on that. So
Adam Peters is clearly the alpha in this situation. And I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I tell you what, I drove past Redskins Park and he was out pissing on all the bushes. So I agree with you. He's marking his fucking territory. But the fact of the matter is, the fact that they hired him, they never beat around the bush with this. This is not going to be a coach-centric build. This is not going to be a situation like that. They're going to work together, but Adam Peters is going to call the shots when it comes to personnel and how this team is going to be built. And it's not like he's going to be all in by himself in his fucking closet.
No, it's a collective, man.
Right. You know? Right. It's a collective. And what we've got right now is hopefully a good general manager with a vision and a coach that fits that vision. To me, the most important things I want to see now, I show me the staff. Who are you bringing in? Who's going to be our
honeymoon is fantastic, but if Adam Peters ain't hitting,
yeah, I know. I get
that. I'll say this with Adam Peters, just real quick, and I know Scott wants to say something.
We got a towboy down here that can freaking change your franchise.
Adam Peters does have a proven track record, even though that he does not. It has not been ahead, of a team yet. But all the way back to New England, where his claim to fame started. His scouting. I mean, he's been one of the top scouts.
He invented the fucking phrase "wicked awesome." Didn't you know that?
But he has a resume of scout. He's one of the top scouts. He was one of the top scouts in the NFL.
Right.
I mean, that's right. And he's built this way. He's got Super Bowl rings. So, I'm not necessarily. Again, that's one of the things I'm excited about is because we got someone that knows what they're doing running this team, even though he hasn't held the job yet, but he's got the experience to do
adults in the room. And that's exactly where I was going there. Look at the 49ers roster and look at what he has done with drafting these players coming from a scouting background.
Has a lot to do with that 49ers
He was the guy in that room who picked the third round onwards. So the George Kittles, the Greenlaws, the Javon Hargraves, the Fred Warners of the world, the Brandon Ayuks. These sort of players are the players that he has a stamp on and says, they're my players. Then he goes, do you know what? We're not that great at running back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and get the best running back in the entire league, and I'm going to get him. And this is a proven track record of knowing what you're doing.
Which actually, in comparison, goes back to what Howie Roseman for the Eagles have done the past couple of years.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you got to model it against success.
We didn't see no moves the past 4 years. No,
no,
Like,
and definitely no in-season moves that were significant. But the Eagle Howie Roseman typically has done that for the past
They're aggressive
seasons. So same scenario with Adam Peters. I mean, if he sees something where there's a player out there that could actually help, I do trust that he's going to make the moves. I think that he's going to bring a level of excitement as far as he's definitely hungry to build this football team. And he may have, done some work with all these other organizations, but he can really make a name for himself in this organization because we are actually dog shit right now.
Just think
this is a charter franchise. If you can turn this around, dude, you're gonna be in history, NFL history.
I just want to say for Yam's comment about Rant breaking down their drafts, and I'll just say this: Rant, Brandon, he is known for cherry picking stuff. So I would take what he says with a grain of salt.
Yeah, because everybody likes a little salt on their chicken.
Yeah, Peters, his track record is proven.
Wrong in a lot of things he says either, though. I will say that he does like.
I like him.
Rant and I, we've run our paths together over the years. He says some stuff that he knows is going to get Twitter riled up. Sure. But I have to tell you, there's a lot of things that he says that, is also, there's truth to it too.
Sure. Look, to me, what I'm saying right now is just what I'm trying to do here is really just drag things out for another 38 seconds so that Scott's wife will yell at him and say,
"The goddamn show's over an hour."
Oh, it's Friday. They ain't got no work tomorrow.
All right. So what do you got left? For me, this is where I stop because I want to see the assistant coach hires. I want to see what goes on.
Chip Kelly.
Chip Kelly. I mean, the fact of the matter is when you talk about Chip Kelly,
absolutely.
What you said about
I'll tell you
Chip
why
Kelly,
in a minute.
I will. Let me see if I can help you. Chip Kelly's offense is not the same as it was. It's not that fucking run and shoot, run and gun. Everything is done in
offense.
Right. The thing about, everybody. I can remember when he was with Philadelphia. Everybody was like, "Oh my god, our defense is going to get so tired because they go so fast." But the fact is,
his first game was against us, and that's
blew us out.
They killed us.
Right. Yeah. So, but their defense got tired. That's what happened. But they don't run that anymore. He runs two tight end sets. He runs slam bam football. Yeah. And that I can get behind. He might have had a connection issue. I'm not sure. Like I said, we're over an hour. His wife's yelling at him.
But Chip Kelly.
Listen, some of the other names I've seen.
I think that would be a sneaky, really good hire. What he did at Oregon,
it's completely different, though.
Yeah. What I'm saying from there, that's how he got his his job over in the NFL. But the UCLA, I want to talk about UCLA for a second. When he got there, it was a shit show, straight up shit show. Now it took him a little bit of time. Recruiting was a big thing, but for him, he's turned that program around. Does run? He's by all accounts is a brilliant offensive mind. And John's right; he doesn't run the same offense no more.
Not at all. Not at all.
And he was a failed,
much more pro-oriented offense now.
He was a failed head coach, but that again doesn't mean he isn't good at offense. Period. And I want Chip Kelly. I really, really want Chip Kelly. And I know the fan base will fucking hate it
because they only remember what he did in Philadelphia.
Yeah. They remember the time because he wasn't that bad in Philadelphia.
Well,
they remember
the thing about Philadelphia. The fact of the matter is that it didn't last long because the NFL, what have I always said? Offense innovates, adapts. Defense adapted to him pretty quickly. He had this penchant for going after his guys. He was bringing in inferior players, and there was also, I hate to say it, but there was also the little float of racism around because a lot of the players that he was getting rid of were of color, and a lot of the players he was bringing in were not. So
mean,
I don't know whether that's true or not. I would
Right.
doubt it. I don't think coaches can get to that level being that way.
I
You have
remember
to earn the
him
respect of a lot of people, and I don't think you can. You can't fool people that long.
but
But
when he went to San Francisco, I think, I mean, that was just such a shit show in San Francisco. I
Right.
mean, that was a bad team too. Like,
Right.
they were just
Well, I'll give you a name: Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll was the head coach of I think it was the Jets and then he was
USC.
the Patriots, and he didn't do very well. And he got
and went to
down
USC.
into USC, and he learned how to goddamn coach again. And then when he came up, as a matter of fact, I can remember when the Seattle Seahawks hired him, I kind of snickered. I was like, geez, this dude's blown it 2 times in the NFL. And no, he went down to college and he learned how to coach again. He changed his approach. And that's what I've seen what Chip Kelly's done down at UCLA. He's changed his approach on how he approaches the offense. So yeah, I'd be excited about that. But who are some of the other names that we've been hearing as offensive
Clint
coordinator?
Kubiak, Brian Greasy, which is
Oh.
another interesting name.
Dude, you know what I remember about Brian Greasy? His teammates hated him. Dude, I'm serious. Do you remember when he was with the Broncos? He got hurt. He missed like 4 games because he got hurt. And they said it was because he was at a team party and he fell over a dog on the fucking driveway and busted up his shoulder or something. Dude, they didn't like him, man. They threw him out of the party. Motherfucker landed in the ditch. I don't know what happened, but that's what the whole thing was. And if you're watching, Tom Templar, tell me, I'm not lying. We had that story. He fell over a dog. So the thing about Greasy is I remember that his teammates tended not to like him.
Yeah, I think Chip Kelly's going to be the hire. And he went and interviewed with the Raiders with Antonio Pierce. They brought him in twice. He was very close to being hired with the Raiders
As a head coach.
No, the offensive coordinator with Antonio Pierce. So I think there's a good chance that we hire him, and I think it would be a great addition. To be honest.
See, I think the problem that I have with Chip Kelly is I enjoyed what he did to the Eagles, but what's going to happen for me here is because I live around all these fans.
We're going to hear a bunch of shit.
Yeah, I already got a bunch of texts about Dan Quinn yesterday, and Chip Kelly's going to be even worse in that situation because I'm telling you, this fan base here.
I know y'all's fan base sucks.
They hate that guy with a passion.
Oh, they should.
They absolutely should.
Yeah.
So I'd be dumb to sit here and say that he can't be successful as an offensive coordinator. I have no way of telling that. But I hate the move for my own personal reason of, great, I get to hear from Eagles fans how he destroyed their team and how, our team is going to continue to be bottom of the barrel,
Let him talk.
Scott, are you there? We don't see you.
Yeah, what's up, Scott?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here, but my camera's
now, from what I understand, in the UK,
my computer completely died.
From what I understand, in the UK, that's what happens now if you watch porn.
Well, Scott,
maybe,
you got any thoughts
is.
on Chip Kelly?
Not really. I've heard a lot about the UCLA offense and that he's apparently changed everything since he was at the Eagles. I don't know enough about it to pass comment on it, if I'm being perfectly honest. I just think whoever they decide to hire has to be the right guy. It's the most important hire of this offseason, more important than the head coach.
I do think what I do know about Chip Kelly is I do feel like he does have a pretty good offensive mind. So if that's all his focus is on,
that's what I mean. Yeah,
right.
I can see him, potentially having some success, which is why I wouldn't necessarily hate the move. But again, I'm just apprehensive for all the other reasons, which in the end, that's obviously not a reason why you wouldn't hire a coach and wouldn't want them hired. But it's just like the Carson Wentz thing, man. Anytime there's questions to be asked about a former player for this team, I have to hear from this fan base. And Carson Wentz, man, that blew my mind. I've never seen Eagles fans care so much about what the Commanders were doing.
Let me fill you with 2 syllables. Fuck them. Just leave them.
As y'all know, I do have a lot of unreasonable amount of Cowboys fans in my department where I work, and I had a lot of in-depth conversations with them about Dan Quinn, and especially a couple of guys I work with, they're into it just, as much as you or I. And a lot of them hate that he's going. And they feel that he was a better coach than McCarthy and kept the team better than Mike McCarthy. They were also upset that McCarthy got is getting another year. And one even said that he was hoping that Quinn would take over the whole entire team.
But Jesse, just look though at the dysfunction that's going on throughout the whole of the NFC East.
Yeah,
we have Sirianni, who's on the hot seat, who's brought in 2 ex-head coaches, I think, as coordinators. Then you have the Giants.
So hold on a second.
Dayball's fighting with with Wink Martindale and everybody else.
And they paid that fucking redneck so much money, and they are
okay. So let me go back to the Eagles on that one. I hate to talk about the Eagles, but I listen to a lot of their radio, and I hear the media, and I watch the news. I mean, I have no choice, but for some things. So to Nick Sirianni's defense, the 2 guys that he brought in, they went to the Super Bowl, and then they moved on. So his decision wasn't for new offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator wasn't just his sole decision. It went right back to Howie Roseman as well. With that.
Well, they got poached last
Howie Roseman is not on the hot seat, but the fans are kind of back to saying, "What are you doing, Howie?"
Well,
because
they got poached last year.
It's being said here that Sirianni might have necessarily wouldn't have chosen those guys to begin with.
The fact is, this is what happens when you're a successful team. Your offensive and defensive coordinators get snagged. And they did. They got both of them were poached out from under them, and then that's going to create a change. And look, I understand Philadelphia is probably very upset because they collapsed at the end. But I mean, goddamn, that team, I think, run that motherfucker back. And I don't have a problem with Sirianni giving those 2 guys those jobs because they have a lot of talent. Yeah, Kellen Moore. He's a fucking hunk of fucking white bread. But the fact
he was nothing. He did nothing at the Cowboys, and he was.
I like Fangio as a defensive coordinator.
He didn't do anything in San Diego either. But Vic Fangio. The fact of the matter is, they have talent.
Good hire.
They do. The Eagles got a lot of talent.
Right.
But Keith was saying, everything runs through Howie Roseman on that team.
The Eagles actually wanted Vic Fangio last year.
And it works. Remember they were ready to throw him out, Jesse?
Yeah.
Vic Fangio's family is from Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
There's a lot of But because, he had a situation with the Dolphins, he remained there, and it just didn't align right. So
a lot of football players.
However, it aligned this year, and it was he wasn't fired. It was a mutual decision to leave because he wants to be here. And I think that's a very strong hire for the Eagles.
Oh, yeah, I do too. I like the hire. I don't like the hire because that hurts us, but And one thing we haven't said about Dan Quinn is this hire hurts the Cowboys.
It does. And it might hurt them even more.
Especially if they're going to hire Ron Rivera as defensive coordinator.
Shit, if he can bring that linebacker over here, boy, that was right there. The fact of the matter is, shit changes in the NFL as often as Keith changes his underwear. So at least once a week. Well, you're much more optimistic than I am. Honestly, I've run out of things to talk about. We're way over. I'm sure that my wife was giving me the look. She wants to eat dinner. Keith's wife is probably, she's a Philly.
Oh, we see her in the background. Her head pops up every once in a while.
Popped up? All right. So
she was packing
the hamburger. Oh, that's right.
Y'all leaving tomorrow?
Yeah.
Where are you going? Are you going to see family?
Yeah, I'm going to see the family the next day after we get there. Then after that, we're staying in a resort and kind of, we're going to do a little fishing trip, take a kid to a theme park. We can't go to a mall because they're all stupid expensive. But one thing that I haven't really, talked about, obviously, because I haven't been on the show and no one cares about my personal life, but this family needs a break, man. Between the wrestling, the basketball, and my kid being a teenager now, having,
I remember, man,
situations.
I know exactly how that was.
Yeah.
All year round. Go, go, go.
Yeah. All year round. Go, go, go with that. And then, like I said, you get these new teenage problems that you deal with school. And it's a lot, man. It's a lot. And
we at the last minute, a buddy of ours was like, "Hey, I have a timeshare. You guys are more than welcome to stay there." We checked flights. The flights were super cheap, and we were like, "You know what? We're out. Let's go." This family has had it difficult for the past, I'd say, 2 months.
I will tell you this: I will monitor amateur porn sites to see if there has been any cameras placed in the rooms that you're in.
Hey, I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Make sure you make
have a good have a good time. You need that, and you deserve the time off.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you put in so much time in this podcast this year. You have worked your ass off for this shit.
Boys,
let's
I'll
be
be
honest,
coming back full time. Don't worry. But
I
know Scotty here that he's gonna stay in between both you two idiots. So
I'll try my best. But no, honestly though, I get it, man. I get it. I've done the dad's taxi for a long time. I know what you're like. Mine are a little bit older.
We got a game tonight at 8 o'clock.
Worry about that.
And we got a game tonight at 8 o'clock. We had a game on Wednesday, and then with his wrestling, like the poor kid. Honestly, we of course we all need this vacation, but this kid is being out now. The ringer, man. I need him to have a week off. And
it's
coming out of school to do it. Yeah,
he's got school and everything else to deal with. So yeah, man, go have a good time down in Florida. We're gonna have a good time up here waiting to see who our assistant coaches is. We'll fill you in when you get back. And I would say that we'll probably talk to you sometime in June when you start feeling like a football fan again. And then, no, man, I'm dead serious. I'm glad you came in here. It's fun when you come in.
Yeah, so am I. It's great. It's great to see you, mate. It's great to see you. I'm glad you're okay.
Will be coming, guys. I got to get through this stuff here, man.
Oh yeah, man.
I honestly
family, man. Do your family thing.
Yeah,
family's more important.
Was cool up until we started doing wrestling, and that's when the time just totally. It was gone.
I will say this: when you say family's more important, I agree. Sometimes
it is. No, it is. Always.
There's other times when you're like, "Man, fuck these people, get them away."
Yeah, but that's the rough. That's the rough with the smooth, John. You got to get with it, man. I get it.
That's when you get down to Florida and you say, "Hey, why doesn't everybody go to the movies?" Dad's heading for the bar.
Well, he's also doing rec basketball too, and I'm coaching that. So it's just like
you're coaching basketball. Now, the last time we talked to you, you were starting fights with other parents in the fucking
correct.
In the
I got punched in the face.
You got
that's right.
Did I tell that story?
Yeah, you did. Yeah,
you got punched in the face
in the bleachers,
and it sounds to me like you earned it.
Well, no, I didn't deserve to be punched in the face, but I take it as a badge of honor because, truthfully, like I said, at the end of the day, I'm gonna be a fan, and I'm gonna fan for my kid, and I'm gonna do it the respectful way. The minute you start disrespecting my family, I'm gonna start talking. And that's exactly what I did. And homie punched me in my face, but I wasn't the one that fell.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah. You don't remember the story?
I see. I get you.
So it is what it is, man. I take that stuff with a badge of honor, man. Obviously, I got to him, and I didn't get to him specifically. I didn't call him by name. I didn't talk to their kids. It is what it is, man.
Hey, number 6 is a homo. I'm sorry, that's your kid, whatever.
Look, man, I'm learning right now, and I wish people would have told me, but I'm learning at the 6th grade level to 7th grade level to 8th grade and then into high school. It's an absolute zoo out there with how people react in the stands, and I get super frustrated with ignorance, and that's what happened that night. And I can't believe that it's like this. Like,
really?
I didn't see it, man. I didn't see it because
I tell you what.
Look, we
spent 25 years giving trophies to everybody. And
no, I know that.
Nobody knows how to fucking lose.
When I played basketball growing up, I'm sure it was happening then, but I was also taught and figured out how to block it out. It wasn't my concern. Mm-hmm. So I never heard it. But now that I'm in the stands, I can hear it. And I did not realize how intense when you're enrolling your child in high level competition. I did not realize how intense it is. And it's not intense from the kids. It's intense from the people in the stands. And I will tell you, this is probably the first year I can say I'm absolutely burnt out.
Yep.
I'm exhausted. And I hate that it's this way because I think that we're teaching these kids the wrong lessons. And I think
we have been for a long time.
We have. And I'm trying to figure out ways. I can't change everyone, but I can change the way that I do things. But at the end of the day, don't fuck with me or my family. And that's the way I see it. And the minute my kid's name gets mentioned, his number gets called out, that to me is disrespectful if you're being disrespectful. And I'm going to say something about it.
Ask you this,
That's
though.
what it is.
I mean, what if your kid does suck, though?
Well, I mean, that's different.
Yeah, you gotta take in that account.
I got a big shout out to Raiders linebacker, RIP to Carl.
Carl Weathers.
Yeah.
Most people don't know he actually played for the Raiders for 2 seasons. He was a linebacker.
Apollo Creed himself.
Man, Carl Weathers has been in so many great.
He's an amazing.
things.
He's an amazing.
He's a great actor.
Yep. He was in Predator, right? You guys said that?
Predator. Yeah, he was in Predator.
Predator.
He doesn't have time to bleed.
He played Apollo Creed. He was in.
Oh yeah.
He was so many. He was.
He's in Happy Gilmore, wasn't he as well?
Happy Gilmore. He was in The Mandalorian.
The golfer.
Yeah, he was a golfer. Yeah.
And
now
he's in a casket.
It's all in.
Oh, come on, John.
What?
The man's
That's where
not
we
even
all
resting.
go, you know. Dude,
well, that's true.
That's
part
part
of
of
All
life.
right, boys. I got to roll.
No, we lost a legend. And yeah.
Oh wait, he died?
He died.
He died.
Yeah.
Carl Weathers died today.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Damn,
He
man.
died today.
That's terrible. I didn't know that, but I've been disconnected.
Yeah, he was 76.
Was he that old?
Yeah, 76. Yeah.
Wow.
Dude, that's only 16 years older than me. Fuck off with that. He's that old.
Was he that old?
Shit,
Damn,
man.
16 years
Yeah.
was not that long ago.
That's my dad's age.
Hey, John, maybe
Well,
you could go to his funeral and tell him about Jumpy Gethers.
I don't need to tell him about Jumpy Gethers.
They probably
because
played
as an
together.
intelligent man, he knows who Jumpy Gethers was.
They probably played
Well,
together.
I ain't got time to find out who Jumpy Gethers was. I'm busy starting a fight in the stands at my son's basketball game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
You're
me.
right. You're right. He'll be up there chopping Russians down in the sky.
Oh, yeah. Hey,
Born Apollo.
Eventually, that's what we're all going to have to do. Okay, so we'll see you
That's
guys
true.
again on maybe Monday. I guess, you know what? Fuck Monday. I'm going to play pickleball on Monday. So Friday, we'll come back and we'll talk about the Super Bowl. And
Maybe we'll have some
we'll do
answers
Super Bowl.
about some staffing.
Yeah,
I
we
wonder
will.
if he keeps
So,
anybody.
I'm
I
sure.
wonder if he keeps Randy Jordan. Something. That's the coach that I would keep is Randy Jordan.
Well, I don't know, man. You know, I know that he's so respected and everything like that, but our running backs have not been the best. Our running backs have had fumble problems. I'm ready to change that. The only ones I'd be willing to keep maybe would be Kerrigan, just because of his newness. I don't know. That's really about it. I'm not interested in any of them.
Logan Paulson, tight ends coach.
Logan Paulson.
He may be. I think he'd come in as a quality control coach.
Assistant,
he's got to have a
assistant Gatorade boy.
Assistant ball walker.
Tight ends coach might not be a bad spot for him to start. I
think I think it might be a little bit high on the football. He does coach. He does coach high school football too.
I don't think it would be much of a change. I mean, he's played it. You know, he's got enough experience. I wouldn't mind seeing how it would go, but at the same time, I'd be kind of disappointed because I do like his analysis on his podcast. So, anyway, we will see you guys again next Friday, where we will discuss Super Bowl 50, whatever the fuck this is. What are we on now? 56, 7, 58,
7, 37,
59? I don't fucking know. I don't know. It's a long way from 26, isn't it?
We all know now the Super Bowl color logo has been debunked.
Was bullshit. Yeah, it's bullshit. Yeah.
Do what now?
The Super Bowl color logo. Bullshit.
The one with the 49ers and the Ravens colors? Yeah. I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, well, it's
all right,
purple and red, and it's been debunked because
debunking is a full-time job these days. All right, then.
No Commanders.
You know what? Sometimes I've got cold feet. I debunk my wife. All right, see y'all later. We're getting punchy.